Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well and having a beautiful weekend. So I wanted to pop in and talk about soul power and soul connection. What is your soul power and your soul connection? And what can actually interfere with your soul power and soul connection? What can actually stop you moving forward and interfere maybe with even the way that you're living your life. So your soul power is very much your soul strength, your ability to really connect and, I suppose, access in some way. So let's go into soul connection first. I think maybe that's the easiest way to. So your soul connection is your connection, right? I suppose maybe your human connection into your soul, into being able to be guided by your soul, and that connection to, I suppose, the universe. And what I would say, so some of you might interpret this different or perceive it differently, but I would say it's in your connection to God and to highest realms of love and divine. And when you have a high soul connection, you can find it very easy to channel. Now, there's different interpretations to do with channel, and there's lots of different teachings. But my perception is that in soul connection, you really can channel to the more purer aspects. Many people can connect with guides and things like that, but sometimes they are connecting with lower vibrational guides or nefarious energies and things like that, and they're distracted and easily seduced, easily manipulated by these lower vibrations. The clearer your soul connection is, your intuition, your inner navigation system is much more clear, much more solid, and it's like almost the signs are so strong and you feel them so strong that you can make decisions throughout your day very confidently. You're getting the guidance, right? So this is the soul connection. It means that it's almost like you're a clear channel. If we look at soul power or soul strength, we can give away our soul power and our soul strength to so many situations in life. If we look at trauma and we look at lots of things that can happen in our ancestral line, things that can happen pre-birth, things that interfere that can actually. Well, the easiest way to explain it, if we think about the world is made of lots of natural elements that are high vibration and are of the line, but there is also equally a lot of things in nefarious that are low vibration, synthetic, toxic, and these come in different forms. So we even look at just things like food. If you're consuming very low dense negative food, and that can be things like alcohol, stimulants, a lot of medication, particularly medication that's very highly toxic. If you think about a lot of modern medicine, most modern medicine is made up of synthetic compounds, and there's often lots of other things that can interfere with our nervous system. It can interfere with our pineal gland, our pituitary gland, things that are key that keeps our that can interfere and stop. Well, I'm not saying it completely stop, it can completely stop, but what I mean is they can interfere. These forms of medication can interfere with your third eye and with certain things in the body, right? Also, if we look at things like electronic devices, EMF, 5G, all these things, all of these can put a lot of stress on the mental, emotional, physical, and even the spiritual body, right? And can interfere because they interfere on an electronic and an electromagnetic way. Also, if you think about it, It's like many of these things have an agenda, and they're not a soul agenda. And the more that we are disconnected through these things, and I want you to think about even trauma. And if you look at even in a child wound and trauma, and how much the soul can become fragmented, right? And how much through, as I said, lots of things. It can be childhood trauma, it can be pre-childhood ancestral stuff, all things that can interfere with the soul, can be soul contracts, things that have happened, you know, in previous lifetimes or previous, how could you say, even, you know, timelines and things, like all sorts of things. All of these things have the power to lower your soul connection and lower your soul strength and your soul power and enhance them. So if you tend to recall back and you do a lot of inner child work, and not just that, there's lots of, you know, I always think it depends, there's so many realms to this. I am a great believer in more what I would call psychic work on the energetic field. So you're dealing with things that are more not in the 3D world, but you're healing things that go beyond that and can interfere with your path and is trying to stop. If you think about it at the moment, as light workers, our role is to be the light and to help people through the dark. And to do that, we have to be able to get through the dark ourselves. And we have to be able to do a lot of work in ourselves. And in many ways, it can feel like it's a constant journey. I know that I've been doing work in myself for 30 years, and there's still work to be done. But we're paving that path, right? And to do that, we need to, how could you say? It's like we have to do certain work, right? And we have to obviously be able to see the light, and we have to try and transcend things that are trying to interfere with our path, especially at the moment when we're in a spiritual war, when we're in a situation in the world and society that certain powers to be, or certain societies and certain people in certain societies are trying to take people's power away, take their sovereignty away. And in many ways, if you look at AI and the way that certain agendas are moving forward, there is, in fact, one person who is, let's put it this way, what we call an advisor for the WEF, right? And he's trying to push the AI intelligence so much that he believes that we have to let go of the soul. That's how crazy society is at the moment. So when we disconnect people, obviously, from their soul, you disconnect them from their joy, you're disconnecting them from being a clear channel for spirit, you're disconnecting them in any ways from the universe and trying to condition them and to program them. When you build up your soul power and your soul strength, and you take your sovereignty back, right? You take fragments of your soul back, you take your gifts back, because a lot of that also is about us giving over our power and our gifts and our skills that we don't even sometimes realize we have away. And what I mean is, if you think about even as a child, these as we explain it, there's lots of different dimensions to this that goes on in different dimensions. But if this is a way to explain it, if you go to, you know, a child, you send your child to school, and a teacher doesn't like the way that your child is drawn, or a teacher does not like something or doesn't agree or is a wee bit resentful of that child, they can put that child down and disempower that child, and that child may be very gifted in a certain area, but to do with the way that they've been treated, or that someone else is maybe resentful of that gift, in many ways they can take the power away. And one of the things that can interfere with soul power and soul connection while I'm talking about this is that other people's stuff, other people's resentment, anger, as I say, jealousy, frustration, or maybe even just of lack of awareness. They're only seeing a small snippet of something. And if they are, someone's very empathic and sense it when someone is sending them a lot of negative energy, a lot of resentment, these all things can interfere with people's energy and their soul power and strength, particularly if they have holes in their energetic field, they don't have strong boundaries, and they have particular vulnerabilities. So there's lots of things that can interfere with our soul power and our soul strength and our soul connection. And to keep both clear, you want to have, it's like almost if you think your soul power and your soul strength, it's like your physical body. When your physical body is challenged, right, it's very hard to be able to do the things that you want to do and be able to freely and be in the flow all the time, because there's this dis-ease. When the physical body, the mental, emotional, and spiritual body is very healthy, right, and strong and robust, it's a clearer channel because there's a clearer flow. Things can move. You're also physically more resilient to things that the person who has certain health challenges or dis-ease is struggling with. So the soul's like that. So there's lots of things that can interfere. One of the things that in my life path I was told quite a lot, and I'm not surprised in a way, but just so, I suppose my limiting beliefs, I tried to kind of push it under the carpet, but I was told quite a lot by people, my God, Eileen, it's like as if you've been cursed, just different things that happened. And just to kind of give you an idea, as someone who was of a family of 9, I was the only one that had all these serious medical challenges. And some people would comment, I think you've had all the medical challenges that your whole family should have had, right? And it was almost like, and maybe the empath part of me, and there's another thing, I've been told there's a bit of the Botsa, the archetype of that, which tends to come in as part of the karma and take on the karma of the family. Now, there can be things like that. There can be lots of things. And there's lots of thoughts and ideas. It doesn't mean that they are truth. Sometimes we've got to be open to ideas and lens. But one of the things was I was told a lot was, you've been cursed. Now, many kind of psychic, more spiritual teachers have tried to work in that, but I always felt that there was just not hitting the spot. And one of the things that really has helped me recently, for the last 2-3 years, I've been working with a guy, Ed Stracher. I work with lots of teachers, and I tend to invest very highly. Someone that is not as interested in the material things in life, spirituality, and my health and well-being has always been more important than all of these things. So, I invest highly in these things. And I've made a lot of sacrifices, which people wouldn't make, but that's my choice. And one of the things that he is classed as a top healer because he has phenomenal results with people with terminal illnesses, right? And dealing with what would be, he would perceive as curses, people that have had weird and wonderful diseases and conditions that nobody can treat, where there is another component going on. And one of the things that happened when I went on his call right away, he said to me, you've had curses pre-birth, right? And you're constantly being psychically and energetically attacked. But he said that's common for a light worker, particularly a light worker that, is maybe prominent or is doing certain things, right? Now, I may not appear prominent on Facebook, social media, but I have lots of blogs, and my blogs tend to get a lot of reach, right? And when we are moving up and we're doing light work, right, it's like everything. The more that light shines, sometimes it can attract lots of flies as well. It can attract a lot of other people's stuff, right? But the reality is that we have to keep polishing that light down. Like, we have to clean the light, right? For us to remain in the light, even when we've been energetically or psychically attacked, or we've been predisposed to anything that can interfere with our soul power, our soul connection, or a day-to-day life, right? We need to do things that help us remain spiritually connected, soul connected. It's so easy to get into your head, and I'm just like everyone else. I'm very, even though I ask for guidance throughout my day to be guided, and I'm a very analytical person in many ways, even though I'm intuitive as well. And I'm one of these people that has lots of ideas. I'm very creative, which can get in the way because I have so many ideas that I have to bring myself back and go, right, what is coming from my soul? Well, what's coming in a spiritual way? And what is just my mind? What is just the creative process of the mind just coming off with these ideas, the ego? And what is actually, am I really be guided? And every morning I check in with myself when I get up. And then I usually go and I have a bath after different things. And I check in while I'm in the bath that I'm not falling into my ego again. And yeah, throughout the day, of course, I'm human. I fall into my ego. But what I do is I check in. I check in with the energy. I use my own way of being able to check in with, right, what is just coming from an idea or a good idea or whatever. And what's actually, am I being guided that is really important to do, right? And of course, like everyone, I sometimes go off on tangents, right? But other than lots of tools and strategies that I use to clear and build that connection up and clear on a psychic level, not just mental, emotional, and trauma, but on a psych level, right up to the 12th dimension. This is what I've been really lucky by working with Ed's helped the confidence I worked with. I done about 8 years ago, I done quite a few courses with Dr. Karen Khan, who's all about energy, psychic attachment, and all these type of things. And I've done different courses with different people because I had so many personal experiences where I was, I felt psychically and energetically, particularly working actually with healers. So I'd been in the middle of a session, and for whatever reason, we were trying to do some deep work. I was getting psychically attacked, and it was one of those things at time I wasn't confident about telling the person, particularly from the early stages of the journey. Maybe I'm not really that energetically aware, but I was seeing so many healers and therapists with a lot. And there was one situation that was so, it was like, it felt like an octopus getting into my body. And I was actually ill for a full week. I had to take a week off. And it opened my eyes, and it was a big reminder for me about boundaries, because one of the biggest things what can interfere with your soul power and your soul connection is really poor boundaries. And particularly if you let people constantly just invade your space all the time and maybe demand your attention, expect you to do more all the time, expect things from you, that is also a way for them. It can be an unconscious manipulation of your power. It can be a form of abuse. And that's why it's so important as a healer and as a light worker that we have to work on our boundaries, and boundaries come in different forms. Boundaries actually can come in many different forms in your business. And it's actually one of the reasons why I have as many, which people might not see it from this perspective, but it's one of the reasons why I actually have as many lead magnets and certain types of sales funnels. Now, I don't just do them, it might think I just do it to get the sale. But if many people look at my sites and look at my work, and people that know me well and work with me, they know that I'm very generous and I give so much for free. And I have 4 websites, and most of those websites, in fact, I think 3, one doesn't have, most of them have over 100 blogs of information, very detailed, informative blogs. And each of those sites have a lot of other lead magnets and freebies that are linked with it. Now, and you might wonder why on earth I'm talking about lead magnets. Now, lead magnets and sales funnels, what they do is they can save you time and energy, but they can also help your audience to get certain information, get certain free help, also get, if they want to, buy your service, save them time, energy, and money, and to find out like what the information maybe they need, but also maybe valuable tools or information that can help them. But also it helps, it's a way that you can run it in automation and you're depleting your energy too much. As someone who has struggled most of their life, as someone, as a name, highly, someone's highly empathic and sensitive and had lots of health challenges and disabilities, I had to think more smart. And boundaries were something I was still working on, particularly even up to about 8 years ago. I was still struggling. I had an empaths and sensitive group, and it created lots of problems because it's, for example, even this group, the group that there's many healers in, what people forget is if you're really extremely sensitive, and lots of healers are carrying a lot of other people's stuff and things in their energetic field. And if you run those groups, you can find that hard because you can feel that energy, right? So there's lots of things that in a business that I had to learn the hard way, that I had to construct things. And it's another reason why I'm going to be moving and doing, I'm going to be either shutting this group down or just leaving it as a marketplace, because I, like everyone, has only a certain amount of energy, and it is not a good use of my time to utilize my energy in ways that is not being valued, respected, and maybe depleted or just getting pulled. People just, how could you say, taking things with not just not appreciating value, but there's lots of people that are very frustrated with their business, very resentful in their business, very angry because they're frustrated because they are not as successful as what they want, they expected, or they think that they should be, or whatever. And they're very, so when they come, sometimes they're very frustrated, and they have sometimes a certain expectation or even a certain entitlement, right? And sometimes it's the smallest things that they're not doing right. It's things that they cannot see, but sometimes they come when they're looking for resources with a lot of frustration. And unfortunately, sometimes we're on the receiving end of that as a coach or a mentor. And I like to try and give people as many resources as I can. I know what it feels like. When I started my business 22 years ago, there was nobody other. I did get some business help from the Prince's Trust, right? So I have to be honest with that. But for example, no banks would touch me for a loan and give me anything because of my health history. They said I was a high risk, and I got a lot of, you would be quite shocked. And even talking about curses, my dad was in business he's been in business now about 50 years, right? At that time, obviously, been in business about 30 years, right? Basically, what happened to me in 1 month in my business, my dad couldn't believe it hadn't happened to him in most of his career. All the things that happened in the first month. And everybody was like, oh my God, Eileen, you're definitely cursed. This is just crazy, the things that happen. And it was a lot of big lessons, really hard lessons. But other than that, even though I had a family that switched on, they had their own lives and nobody helped me. And sometimes it was really tough because I had mobility issues. I was seriously ill at the time, and it was challenging. Nobody was there to help me. We didn't get the free resources and all the free courses that you have now. It just wasn't there. So I don't mind giving that. But what also can happen is then, because you do give so freely, you can get lots of messages and people asking either stupid questions or quite, they're looking for your time. By me doing certain lead magnets and sales funnels of all different angles, it gives people an opportunity to be able to sign up for things that is not interfering as much with my energy, because they're able to get access to things and free things and do that without me, how could you say, spending a lot of time and energy on situations that are not good use of my energy, right? So that's why I do that. So when, you're keeping your boundaries healthy, in a business, it's really important to notice what you're doing in energy. And one of the things that's another reason why I'm really, really pushing to move away from Facebook is I just don't think at the moment it's the best use of many business owners is energy. I know that we still maybe have to have some sort of presence, but group-wise, it's not working for me for a lot of reasons. And I get most of my clients and my audience through other sources, and it's not actually most common social media. You might be surprised, but it isn't. So you've got to obviously, when you're working on your soul power and your soul connection, you've got to consider your personal circumstances as well. You've got to do things that make it healthy. When you're more healthy, it's going to be easier with your soul power. But your soul power is a spiritual thing. And I think this is a personal thing. If you give away constantly your power just to your guides and you're not building your total connection that you feel with the universe, what I mean is that I always feel that some people's guides are very down here when they should be connecting right up. That's what it feels to me, right? And we just have to look at the last few years when so many light workers and healers feel as if they've made bad decisions and bad choices about certain things. And to me, there's not a strong enough soul connection. They don't feel secure enough in their soul. They may have, so let's talk about two archetypes actually that can interfere with your soul connection, right? And your soul power. You think about the basic, the mother and the father, right? Now, to think about the mother and father energy, let's look at even Mother Earth, right? So Mother Earth, you've got the nurturing, supporting, grounding energy. And if you feel that the earth is not a safe place, if you think that this is a really dangerous place to live, where you're going to feel like that, it was something that shocked me. And it was in one of my friend David's healing workshop, and it was revealed. I didn't even realize it had that belief, but it came out. A friend of mine, it came out that she kind of realized it, and then all of a sudden I realized that belief was there as well. Now, if you do not have that strong, secure relationship with your mother and felt loved, cared for, and supported by your mother, and felt that your needs were being met and cared for, you can struggle with the Mother Earth and feeling supported on the earth, right? If we look at the father energy, the protective energy, the sense of strength, and most of the sometimes, as a child, you see the father figure as this, no matter what size they are, there's this bigger figure who's there to give protection. If the father figure wasn't there, and if there is a lot of trauma there with the father figure, or lots of, distortions, you can have challenges also with your heaven and earth connection. Now, if we look at then the God connection, if you have this really distorted religious perspective of God and you have a lot of trauma and you maybe disconnect yourself and really kind of have a lot of resentment or hurt and then want to deny that aspect of God, you might struggle to have that connection, right? Now, I know that means the word God means lots of things to lots of people. And what I mean when I have to be clear about this, because we're now realizing that there's a lot of people that call God, that are of the dark, that call God, it's something else. I'm talking about the lightest aspect, the divine aspect of the world and God and the highest elements of love and light. When we can connect with that and with more security and feel safe, right, it's easier to build that connection and to build that up. But many people it's their trauma, but also not the mental, emotional, spiritual trauma when you think about it, but it can be other things that are trying to psychically or energetically attack us or stop us living our purpose, to confuse us, because sometimes people tell me things that their guides have told them, and I think, shit, really? I'm sorry for being but honest. I think, really, is that a guide? It really concerns me at times. And that worries me about how much the lack of discernment, and also giving the power over to other psychics all the time, or spiritual teachers, and never having the discernment to know what's truth, fact, or fiction, not having the ability to feel into the energy to see, is this a nefarious energy that they're connecting with, or is it a really high vibrational energy? Or even when someone's doing light work, you know, people just assume when someone's doing light work that they're always bringing the highest dimensions through, and that can depend on what that level, that person's level of vibration. It can depend on the tools that they're using, the channels that they're using. It can depend on so many things. So soul power and selection is a big part of being able to create a soul aligned business that is on track, that is helping you live your purpose. Because we live in a world that is designed to really push us to be more ego-based, and push us to be distracted, and to listen to all sorts of things, and to listen to the mind instead of the soul. If you're building your business totally on just logic and not listening to the soul, you're going to struggle. Now, I teach processes, I teach things to simplify things, and it's because as a spiritual business owner, as a soul-aligned spiritual business owner, I am service first, but that can get me into trouble. So I create systems to make it easy for me. And also, about 8 years ago, when I always had an online business, but 8 years ago when I had to make my business all online, I had a lot of disabilities. I had struggled to right down here. I had really extreme noise sensitivity. It's a lot better, where I had to use all these devices so that noise wouldn't trigger a seizure. I had a whole problem in my whole arm, could hardly use my arm. I had to think, right, okay, Eileen, you need to think smart. You need to do things in a way that's going to work for you, work for your business, and still be able to do the things that you're guided to do. And I was guided to create my business in a certain way. And to make it kind of also, which you might be surprised, recession proof in many ways, because I understood a business. I understood the challenges of running, particularly an online business. I've run an online business for 22 years. Because even when I run and I went out and I was a trainer for stress management, my business started online 22 years ago. A lot of the work I did was 22. I've been blogging for over 22 years, so that gives you an idea. Okay. So if you are eating processed foods, if you're drinking alcohol, if you're using a lot of medication, if you are also giving your power over to news and other people, and you're letting other forms of media or other people control what you do or interfere what you do, and you're not asking yourself, does this feel right for me? Is this the truth? It's like many people can channel for us as well, but sometimes we have to stand back and say, really, is that, or was that channel for something else, or did they get that accurate? Because again, people give over their power all the time to other people. And the most powerful thing that you can do is develop your own intuition, build that soul power and soul connection. And it's the reason why I'm going to be offering, not this Thursday, but the following Thursday at 12 o'clock noon, I'm going to be doing a building your soul power and soul connection session, and it's going to be part of the Lightworker Gold package. It's also part of the Platinum Spiritual Marketing Club membership. So all you could do if you sign up for a monthly basis, you get access to all these monthly sessions. But this month it will be, you'll get free access if you join that for would you call it? If you join in November, you will get access to that session. Now, you can buy these sessions on your own, but it's actually just as cheap to do it, to buy the other, and you get all these other tools and techniques that I've used through the years. So in the Lightworkers toolkit, you get access to over £800 worth of tools and techniques. plus, you know, on a monthly basis, plus the bonuses and the spiritual marketing club membership, you get access to, well, in the gold, you get access to about 1,000 pounds worth of content, and in the bonuses, if you would you go to the platinum, you get the Lightworkers toolkit, you've actually got £1,800. It works out at £2,000 worth of content you can access on a monthly basis. So it's a really great value. It's, you know, this is stuff that I've done over many years of work. And it's just designed to support you in your purpose and designed to help in your business. So I'm wishing you all a lovely Sunday. I'm just going to check to see if there is any, because this is I'm on Zoom, so I'm just checking to see if there is any comments or any messages. I know there's not much feedback recently on, we're hardly getting any views in most groups at the moment. No, I don't think there is. But anyway, have a beautiful day, everyone. Okay, and I hope to see some of you on the next Thursday. Now I'm trying to think what date that would be. Wait, we just check. It will be the Thursday the 24th. Thursday the 24th of November at 12 o'clock. Okay, have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.